Hello, I'm up here. I'm going to move myself over and make the screen a little bigger so that we can watch the math lesson together. So, today's math lesson is about estimating sums by using compatible numbers and rounding, which sounds like a lot, but I want to tell you you've got this. So, we're going to go through this together, okay? There's the beaver.
Hi there! The squirrels around here have been very busy lately gathering acorns for winter. They've already collected 2 large piles of acorns.
I'm going to move myself out of the way.
Click the acorns to find out how many there are in each pile. That's better. Now we can see how many acorns are in each pile. This pile has 441 acorns.
Pile right here.
And this pile has 572 acorns. That's a lot of acorns. I wonder about how many acorns there are altogether. Is there a quick way to find out, since I don't need the exact sum? You know, you can use rounding and compatible numbers to estimate a sum to the nearest 10 or 100. Come with me.
Okay, so we're not trying to find out the exact number here. We're trying to find out about how many there are. And so we're going to use a trick called estimating with compatible numbers.
The table shows the number of dogs that visited a dog park in each of 3 months. About how many dogs went to Pine Lake Dog Park during June and August? Let's unlock this problem.
Okay, so this is a different problem. This is not the acorn problem. This is a little bit different. So I wanted to let you know we switched. The acorn problem was just a little mind teaser to get us ready to think about this. So about how many dogs went to Pine Lake Dog Park during June and August? So are we worried about July? No, that's extra information.
When a question uses the words about how many, you can use estimates to find the answer. An estimate is a number close to an exact amount. An estimate tells you about how many or about how much. To find an estimate, first find the exact numbers in the table. How many dogs visited the park in June?
How many? 319.
In June, 319 dogs visited. Now find how many dogs visited the park in August.
Remember, because the question is asking about June and August, not July. So how many were in August?
In August, 467 dogs visited. How would you find the sum of 319 and 467? To find the sum, you'd write 319 plus 467. But you want to estimate. One way to estimate this sum is to use compatible numbers. Compatible numbers are numbers that are easy to compute mentally and are close to the real numbers. What number that is easy to compute is close to 319?
Here I am to tell you. Okay, so we could come over here and do 319 plus 467. This is stuff you guys have been doing on your calendar math every day. You could do it, but we're not interested in exactly how many dogs went to Pine Lake. What does it say? It says about how many dogs went to Pine Lake. So we're not interested in the exact number. We just want to know about. Like maybe they're trying to make sure that they have enough space for all the dogs. So as long as they know they have about this many, that they're good. And if it's about this many, they need an extra gate or something like that. Okay, so we're going to use compatible numbers. What is an easy to add number that is really close to 319?
You can use 325.
Okay.
What number that is easy to compute is close to 467?
Let's see what they choose, and then we'll talk about it.
You can use 475. It's easy to compute with numbers ending in 25 and 75.
Why is it easy?
Now, let's add.
Okay.
What's the sum of 325 and 475?
Okay, before we do it, let's think about why they chose those numbers. Why is it easy to add numbers with 25s and 75s at the end? You know what that makes me think of? That makes me think of quarters. And we know that quarters are 25 cents and 4 quarters make $1. We know that 75 cents plus 25 cents makes $1. Okay, so those are numbers that are easy for us to work with because we work with those numbers all the time. So we already know that 25 and 75, what does that make? That makes an extra 100, right? So we've got 300 and 400, and then we've got an extra 100 here on the side. So what's it going to be? Let's see.
It's 800.
See how that worked?
So about how many dogs went to Pine Lake Dog Park during June and August?
About 800. Do you see how they got that? So 300 plus 400 is 700, right? And we got to get rid of this 25 and 75 to put together to make 100. So 700 plus one more 100 is 800. Is that the exact number? No, but it's pretty close.
The estimate is about 800 dogs. You can choose to use different compatible numbers to estimate.
Okay, so now
what's a different number that's close to 319 and is easy to compute?
See what they're trying a different approach. Let's see.
320.
So they just rounded it to the nearest 10.
Now find another number that is easy to compute and is close to 467.
If we're rounding this guy to the nearest 10, what's it going to be? 470, right? Because the 6 is the one we're rounding to. The 7's the information that gives us if we're going to go this way or that way. Remember the rounding hill? So I bet it's going to be 470. Let's see.
Yes. 470.
I love being right.
It's easy to compute with numbers ending in 0. What's the sum of 320 and 470?
You don't even have to think about this one. There's no carrying, no borrowing, nothing. 7 and 2 is 9, 3 and 4 is 7, so it is 790.
Here, the estimated sum is 790. About how many dogs visited the park in June and August?
Okay, so they got 790 for this estimate, and that's a little different than 800, but do you see how when we're looking at hundreds, it's really, really close? So if you knew you had enough gates for a dog park with 1,000 dogs in it, would this number help you know that you were in good shape? Yeah, you wouldn't have to know if it was exactly a certain number. You would just need to know it was about 800.
790
about
dogs.
790.
So you can also say about 790 dogs visited in those months.
They're very close to each other.
Both estimates are reasonable or make sense.
Okay, I like that word reasonable, if it makes sense.
Here's another way to estimate. Use place value to round.
Okay.
Let's round 319 and 467 to the greatest place value. Which place is that?
What's the greatest place value? If we were going to round it to the biggest place value, is that going to be the ones, the tens? No, the hundreds.
The hundreds place. Round each number to the nearest 100. What's 319 rounded to the nearest 100?
We're rounding to the 3. The 3 is the one we're deciding if it's going to go up or stay the same. Look at the next number. That's way down at the bottom of the beginning of the rounding hill. So we're going to go back down to 300.
300.
Okay.
And what's 467 rounded to the nearest 100?
Okay, this one's a little closer to the middle, so it's a little trickier. But again, we're looking at the hundreds place. So the 4 is the one we're going to decide if it goes up or down. Let's look at the 6 for our information. Is the 6, you can think about the rounding hill, think about where it is on that side. You can also think about, I don't have one in front of me, your yellow rounding chart, okay? Think about if it's on the goes up one side or if it's on the stays the same side. 6 is on the goes up one side. 6 is on the downhill slope of the rounding hill.
500.
So it's going up to 500.
Now find the sum of the rounded numbers.
That's easy. 300 plus 500 is 800.
800. So rounding numbers using place value also gives you about 800 dogs at the dog park. Estimate the sum of 418 and 227. Use compatible numbers.
Okay, compatible numbers.
Look for compatible numbers. That is, numbers that are close to the actual numbers and that are easy to compute.
Easy to compute. That's the key there. Think about adding up coins. Think about 25s and 75s and 50s, okay? 418 is pretty close to 400 what when we're thinking of 25, 50, 75? 418 is close to 425, right? 227, which one is that closest to? That 27 is closest to the 25 also.
First, select a compatible number for 418.
Okay, which one's most compatible do you think? I'm going to go with 25 because I really like adding up with quarters. Woohoo!
That's right. 425 is a compatible number. It's close to 418 and is easy to add. Now, select a compatible number for 227.
What we said was we're going to go down to 225 because that's the closest.
You're right.
Easy to add.
225 is a compatible number. It's close to 227 and is easy to add.
Just like our 25s and our quarters,
Finally,
right?
select the estimate for the sum.
Okay, so 25 and 25, what's that? Easy. Don't even have to think about it. That's 50. So we know it's either going to be 650 or 750. So we got 50 right here. What's 400 plus 200? 650.
Excellent. The estimated sum is 650. Now, let's practice with the personal math trainer.
Okay, we're going to do a couple of these. Mom, hang on, bud. I'm making a video. Okay, so Dan estimated the lowest sales of both pet bowls and bags of pet food to be about 300. What month had the lowest sales? Okay, so we're doing this one kind of backwards. So the month that had the lowest sales is the one that's about 300, but that's included pet bowls and bags of pet food. So we have to figure out which one of these months adds up to be about 300. All right, so I'm looking at 75 and 212. 75 is already a compatible number, right? We don't have to change that. That's already like 3/4. Let's look at 212. What's that one pretty close to? That's pretty close to 200. It's pretty close to 225. Let's go with 200. Let's round down. Okay, so 200-ish plus 75-ish is 275. Ooh, that's pretty close to 300. Look at this guy. This guy's 96. What hundreds is really close to 96? 100, right? And 406, that's really close to just 400. So 400 plus 100, that's 500. That's a lot more than 300. Okay, so that's going to be too low. August, again, we've got 377. Let's put that like 375. That's closest, that's compatible. Okay, 59. Let's put that down to 50 to make it our compatible number. So 375 plus 50. Well, let's split that 50 up into 2/4. So 375 with 1/4 brings us up to 400, right? And then 425 with the extra quarter. So both of those are bigger. So I think June is going to be the one that's closest to 300 because we estimated it's about 275, which is very close to 300. June. Oh, well done. Well done, us. Okay, we're not going to do the other one because this video is going to cut us off too quick. But now I'm going to have you do a page in your book, and I'm going to tell you in the instructions which page.